you're coming into your teenage years, you're starting to, the thought of drinking and using and all that was dead attractive to me. And it was buckets at the time. And if you've ever took a bucket, I mean, they were heavy duty. I was taking 2 of them before I even left the house. Doing that constantly, the whole day and night. And then what happened, we got a blackout blind. And we used to stay up the whole night, just stoned constantly. And then sleep the whole day and get up about 5 o'clock. Because once I near missed the bus and I swerved by it, I went like that. It was good, man. It was good reaction there.
I'm sitting there top right.
Aye, that's how we met, more or less. Aye.
And that's when the beautiful Alexis, our daughter, was born. And that kind of changed a lot of things.
And I don't think anybody's really truly ready for the life-changing responsibility that's about to smack you right in the dial. Because I wasn't either.
Do you know what I mean? And I wasn't giving you what you really deserved, truly, as a partner, as a mother. And I can openly speak about these things now. Because again, it wasn't just a trauma for me being like that, it was a trauma for everybody. And
I've stoated in there, and the last thing I remember was talking to people at the bar and having all shots of tequila lined up and just going bang, 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 and then coming to, running with my motor and chasing this guy to get my keys back.
The wonderful Kellymarie Lindsay, welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
No, it's amazing to have you on the show. This is going to be interesting. You bring a great presence, a magical energy. So before we dive right into your inspirational story, right? Talk me through what you have going on in the world of Kellymarie, the present. What's going on with you?
Oh, where do I start? See, to actually realise where I'm at now, it's unbelievable. See the things I've got happening in my life. No even material things, like all the opportunities and all the amazing blessings that's came my way are all amazing. See, the most valuable thing in my life now is peace. Total peace and contentment. I've realised that that's what we're all looking for. That's literally what I've been looking for. I thought it was in all the shiny stuff, all the outside material things, and like another person and validation for other people. It's come to realise, no, we just want peace of mind. See, no matter now what happens in my life, and some pretty hard things have happened, I'm able to deal with it. I've got that sense of ease and comfort that everything's going to be all right. And I can't believe that. Like, that is priceless. You can't put a value on it. You really can't. It's amazing.
No, it's beautiful to hear you speak these words. People are going to be gripped by this episode because they don't know the backstory. So I'm going to take you back now, right?
Right.
To the start of your journey, your first memories, early childhood, first chapter.
First chapter, so I grew up, addiction's rife in my family. So my parents have struggled with addiction. It probably about 4 or 5 where it started to sort of affect me in a way. My dad, I know you've had him on the podcast. He's real loving
legend.
He's a real legend. So he has been open about it, obviously, about his addiction and stuff like that. And he was always in and out the jail, and it was always like a sort of inconsistent. But my gran and granda, they were just always the constant. So it started off, I would go up there and stay at the weekend, and then eventually it would progress into a wee day during the week, and another wee day, and another wee day. And it just happened gradually. So at that young age, it was just my life. It was just the way it was. And I stayed with my gran and granda, and they're just the most beautiful people in the world. Anybody that knows my gran and granda just know that. And I was spoiled. So I almost had like the best of both worlds in a way. So I was just spoilt rotten. They just doted on me. They absolutely loved me. So did my man Dad, of course. My man's my best pal. She's my absolute rock. I love her to death. But they were just struggling at the time. So my gran and granda, so I was so lucky for that and so grateful for that. They were just my constant, So I lived with them and my ma as well. My dad was sort of just doing his best to be there when he could be there. And I was fine all the way through school. I had pals and all that. The only thing was, I was a pure chunky Wayne. I was like a pure target. I was pure massive. My granny used to put these big flowery baubles in my head, right? And she'd be like, it's just so I can see you for the school, because where I stayed in the Calton, and my school was St James's, and it was right across the road for her window. So she could see me, she'd put a flowery bauble in my hair. But as the years went on, for like primary one, it'd be like wee flowery baubles. See, the years went on to primary 7, I was like fucking Carmen Miranda with this big, massive like, flowery bauble on it. So it was like a pure target. But I got on with everybody. So I think people always knew she's a good person, she's funny and she's all that. So I always got on well, I was all right. I think there was a couple of times there was a couple of boys just to try and get a bit kind of thing me, and I just had to let them. I had to, because...
You're still a wee bit of a chunky Wayne now, but it's great to have that inner child.
Oh, thank you.
It was a joke, by the way. It was a wee joke.
Okay.
Right, so we'll carry on for there, because I know you had this great relationship with your gran and granda. Obviously, you're staying with them most of the time, right? Mm-hmm. So your fond memories and all that, and you always have the banter, the comedy. But when I met you, you always spoke about your granda and how such an amazing guy he was, and it's mad how your dad ended up doing the crime kind of route and the chaos and all that, and we'll speak about that in part 2. I'm getting him on for that. But with your granddad was the opposite. Do you know what I mean? He just came with this bright light, but you wouldn't cross him in a way, you know what I mean, because he had respect for people, and
so
it was
well respected.
His own business, and all that, well known about the schemes and stuff like that. So can you talk me through that? And we'll tap into your gran as well, because your wee granny is still here and she's such a blessing.
My granda was just the most beautiful soul you'll ever meet in your life, and I'm yet to meet, and I really truly mean that. Like, anybody who's ever spoke to him would say the exact same. Just a beautiful person inside and out, hard-working family man, just amazing. And I look back now and I'm like, what a brilliant male role model, really. Do you know what I mean? So he was just unbelievable. He was amazing. So was my granny. So they gave me a life that was shielded for a lot of stuff that I know, like, they just shielded me for a lot of stuff, is probably the best way to put it. But I went through school like that, and then coming to secondary school, that's where I would say the real shift changed. Because I think when you're away and you've still got that, you've not really got a care in the world, you've still got all your pals, you've still got all that. So though I always felt different, because I thought my pals have all got like their man dazzle together, and I'm just here, this fucking pure fat weirdo that stays with her granny a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? So I always had that sense of like separation, that I was different.
So when you're getting into like high schools, you said you're 11, 12, that's when I know you grew up kind of around about the Calton, Gallagate area. So there's like gangs starting to form, the young teams and stuff like that, and then you start getting involved in these things early, because I know from my own experience. So what age were you when you were first kind of like introduced to like the drugs, the alcohol, the kind of gang culture?
Well, I went to St Mungo's, which was in the Gallagate. I stayed in the Calton, but my ma stayed in Brigton. So I would stay in the Calton some of the time, and I would stay in Brigton some of the time. In Brigton, a lot of the boys and the lasses that were older than us, so we didn't fit in with their crew. It was at the YBD. And then the Calton was the Tongs. But they actually, in my eyes, were like, they had Prada trainers and all that. Like, they just weren't really, I didn't feel like I quite slotted in with them either. And then I found the fucking Gallagate Mad Squad. See, as soon as I heard the name, I was like, that's it.
They used to shite themselves for us.
This is my wee crew. I'm like, oh my God. So I went to school at St Mungo's, and this is where you're coming into your teenage years. You're starting to, the thought of drinking and using and all that was dead attractive to me. See, everything that you shouldn't be doing, I found that dead attractive. I'm like,
what did you first start getting involved in then? Like alcohol and drugs wise? What were you?
The first thing ever was drink. The first thing ever. It was in my ma's. She was having my auntie here. No, your kid on auntie. No, really your auntie. So she had her
I used to have 5 uncles.
Oh, right. Anyway, she had her here, and they had vodka, and I took a wee drop out it, and I drank it that fast and thought, I love that. And I was drunk. I was about 12 or something like that. I thought, I loved that. So I instantly loved it. And I just thought, I can't wait to do that again. Can't wait. And it goes to the Gallagher, and you've got the Belgrove Hotel right outside it. So you could get it, no bother. You would just give one of the alcoholics like a fucking pound and they'd go and get it. So we could get it, no bother. And that was the start of it. It was just like, I have arrived. This is it, man. Oh my God. And see, when I look back now, I think the difference with the Gallagher is everybody was just all a bit fucked up. Their families were just a bit warped. Their family life at home wasn't. We were like a wee bunch of misfits. And I think we found each other and found solace in that and gone, oh my God, we are a wee crew. Like, it's us against the world. We've like, and that's what happened. I can say it's hindsight, obviously, looking back. I'm like, that's what that was. We found a wee sense of community in each other, and we were nuts. We were all nuts, and we were all just big characters, and we were all so different. And it was drinking at the weekend, and then I was living for the weekend. So I couldn't wait. I'd be in school the whole week going, no, I can't wait to the weekend. So the obsession for me was always there right away. Because as soon as I had that feeling, as soon as I had never had that feeling, I'm then thinking and obsessing about getting that feeling again. And that started, I became the course for the rest of how I drank and used, more or less.
So what drugs were you using at an early age? What did it start with?
First one, Eckies, which I loved. See, still to this day, see if I could get away with taking an Eckie in safety, I would, but I can't. Because I can't take one in. As soon as I take one, that's me. And as I said at the start of the place, a piece I have, you couldn't pay me to drink or use any substance in any way now.
It's a mad thing to, when you think back of that stuff, because as you said, like a group of misfits, but it's the environment. There's nothing else there for them. No. And it's the limited belief system. So everybody's using, drinking and getting involved in things that we're not supposed to. And I know your gran or your wee granny and your granddad were no really strict, but they had a strictness in a way where they had rules and regulations and stuff like that. And we know ourselves, our characters, I'll speak for myself and you, is both like free. You want to be free, so we can't really have rules and regulations because you're always going to break them in a way.
Aye.
And you would always go down that road. But so you're moving in to like your later teenage years, right? Where do you go from there? How's your life at that point?
So back then it was brilliant. See, when I look back now, no, because I'm an advocate for recovery, because I know the peace I have in the way my life is now. It's amazing, right? So I would encourage anybody to get into recovery. I'm dead passionate about it. But that's not to say that it was always shitty times with the drinking drugs, because it wasn't. We had some amazing times. And that's when it was good. That's when we really loved it and we enjoyed it. That's when it was like they'd be fighting with the Carlton and it would be all the gang fighting. They'd be running, throwing bricks and running away. And I loved it. I pure lived for it. It was the pure sheer excitement. Because my life wasn't exciting. It wasn't. It was quite restricted. And I just wanted to rebel, obviously. And I just loved it. It was amazing. So I went home for that, like that for years. And to be honest, back then it was just the norm. Do you know what I mean? I don't see it as much now. No, like Ned's and it was all the bear gossies. And do you know what's pure nostalgic? That was the like Sony Ericsson days. That was the one. You'd do Sony Ericsson, you'd do two speakers around there, and it was like the pure tinny sound after the thing, man. It was like Dancing in the Dark, I'll Get Over You, all the pure cheesy like chipmunk tunes. Even thinking about it, like, it's pure, it gives you a buzz. It was brilliant. So back then it was good. That was all we knew. It was brilliant. And it just went on like that. I met my first boyfriend and we moved in together.
Where'd you meet him? An ID parade?
Aye, when I met you mean?
Number 7.
Anyway, so I met him, and through just a series of things that had happened, we ended up moving into our own place at 16, which when I look back now, we were two Waynes moving into this house. We're now responsible for a house, and we're fucking idiots, like the two is, you know what I mean? And so that was chaotic, as you can imagine, you know what I mean? That was mental.
How long did that relationship last?
That lasted till I was 20, but it was pure tumultuous. As I say, we were two Waynes, forced into a house together. We were going to college, again, we had great times. We were really, really great pals as well. It wasn't all bad, but it was just toxic in the end up because we were young and dumb and just stupid. Aye. So it just went that way.
What kind of drugs were you using when you were together? Was there anything it got a bit worse with the behaviour?
No, what actually happened was I went for drinking Eckies, you know what it was like, speed. There's probably not a drug I've not tried. Apart from heroin and the harsher stuff, I've probably tried them all. So that carried on, but then what happened was I got to about 16 and my man that sort of knew I was drinking anyway, so they sort of turned a blind eye to it, which took the excitement out of it. And then hash came in. We'd get a $5 bit of hash and it was like pollen. No, it was really good stuff. So we get a $5 bit of that and we went up. There was these masonettes in the Gallagher. And we used to they were all boarded up. So there was nobody living in them, so you could just get away with murder. So there was a wash machine that was on its side at the top of it. That was where we perched and we got there and sat. You could look at the window to see if the police were coming or if anybody was coming. We went up there and we made a can pipe. You should have seen the state of this can pipe. So we've made a can pipe and we sat and we were smoking the pollen. And I just remember thinking everything was hysterical. No, like the giggles, it was like the most intense. Oh, I loved it. I thought, this is amazing, this. Like, I cannot believe this. So, it was that. But then eventually even that started to lose that. You didn't get the giggles so much. It went to pure straight paranoia after a while. The munchies, I had piled on I don't know how many stone.
I think it really puts a dent in your true personality, because I remember you speaking to me about it and you were saying you became a shell of yourself because you're smoking hash every day. I've done it myself, and you start to get the paranoia. Your nose outgoing, you're thinking about what you're going to say before you meet people. It doesn't come out right, and then all that anxiety and depression all starts to linger because you're using a substance every day and you become dependent on it. And it really fucks your mind up. So that I ended up for then. We started college, went to accountancy. I don't know why. I think it's just my granny and that had said to me, you're not leaving school unless you've got something to go into. So I went and I honestly think it was just alphabetically the one at the top. I was at work. I was at accountants making hundreds of money. I'm looking for an accountant, but I've only got 42 quid on us.
So
moving on.
So I picked accountancy, we went to do that. But throughout that full time, we were smoking weed every single day. And actually I've skipped a bit, before we went to college, we were smoking, and it was buckets at the time. And if you've ever took a bucket, I mean, they were heavy duty. I was taking 2 of them before I even left the house. Doing that constantly, the whole day and night. And then what happened, we got a blackout blind. And we used to stay up the whole night, just stoned constantly, and then sleep the whole day and get up about 5 o'clock and then do the same again. And it would be like BBC 3 at the time, and it was all Family Guy and all the shite of telly of the day and Snog, Marry, Avoid, and it just repeated that for like the best part of a year and never thought there was anything wrong with it. I look back at that now and I go, oh my God. So
when did you start to part ways then for that relationship?
So when I was 20, it was sort of over before it was over. I knew in my heart that it was done, but it was because we were such great pals though. We'd been pals through school, so it was more that. I think I knew once I left it was done, and we couldn't be pals, and I think that's how I held off. But eventually that was done, and I met somebody else.
I know it was no long after the breakup, that relationship you had for a few years, then you get to age 20, right? And then you meet the man of your dreams. Can you talk me through that? Do you remember the first date?
I remember the first date.
I thought you were going to say no there.
No, I
was just about to just cancel this full episode.
No, I can remember the first date. So
what happened?
I'd moved back in with my mas, as you know, and my cousin had come up with you. She's like, oh, it's my pal Jim and all that.
Was I no drunk at the time?
You were the first time, but no the second time.
Oh, the second time I made an effort.
I can never remember meeting you the first time.
Aye, thanks.
Anyway. So anyway, she's like, it's my pal Jim and all that, and we sort of had it off. I was telling you the story about my scooter that I'd fell off my scooter and
And
all
because
that.
I had a scooter as well. I
Aye.
had the Vespa and you had a wee scooter, and we were
Aye.
telling funny stories, and you used to always crash it and I used to crash mine.
Aye,
So
because I
it
couldn't
kinda
pass
had
my
this-
driving test, so
It was always comedy there.
aye, so I kicked about in a moped.
Aye.
And even when I was working in the office, I used to give it in the moped with the full office stuff on and all that one.
I've still got the photos there.
Aye,
Up my wall. No, I don't know.
Anyway, so we like bonded there that anyway, and we just sort of clicked and we just got a laugh. And as Stephanie was leaving, my cousin, she was like, so are you going to ask for her number then? And I'm like, oh my God.
Hold on a minute. That's not what happened.
That was?
You asked for my number.
Oh, don't
And I
talk
says,
shit.
you'll need to go to the end of the queue. Do you know what I mean? And then I picked you out the whole bunch. That's what fucking happened.
Whatever.
Well, in my mind, I think that's the truth. But anyway, do you remember the first date anyway? When
I remember the
So
first
what
date
happened?
because you were like, do you want me to take you a drive?
No, I didn't say it like that.
You did. You says, oh, you want me to take you a drive? And then you were trying to impress me actually, and you're like, so do you drive? And at the time I got done like 2 lessons, and me being me goes, aye.
No, you bullshitted me.
I was
So
like, aye.
I was trying to impress you, so I remember it well. So I picked you up, right, and we went along to the retail park.
That's
and I
right.
says to you, can you drive? And you went, aye, I drive all the time. And I thought, fucking hell, so I'm just going to go for it. So I says to you, I don't even think I had any L plates. Because I don't like rules and regulations anyway. So I was like, fuck it. And we swapped seats. And I says, you get into the driver's seat then and you drive and I'll just kind of guide you. And holy fuck, man.
Do you remember the bus?
Do I remember the bus? I still have nightmares about it.
So-
So you started driving and it was like something out of a horror movie because I was fucking scared for my life. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, you nearly crashed into a bus. You were driving near the top of roundabouts. See, to be honest with you, it was probably one of the best first dates I've ever had in my life.
Oh, it was
It was danger.
good.
It was pure danger.
Pure danger, but that just shows your mentality that we thought that was amazing.
I thought it was
This is
funny.
so romantic. We nearly
I
died.
didn't say it was romantic. Fuck's sake, what are you talking about?
No, so anyway, so it was just funny. And then I think because once I near missed the bus and I swerved by it, I went like that. It was good, man. It was good reaction there.
I'm sitting there
It was good
chalk white.
reaction time. You're pure chalk white, and you went, "God, do us a favour, drink. We can swap seats and it's just I've got a free grand excess."
I tell everybody my business, aye.
So anyway, so we called her and was so that's how we met, more or less.
Aye, and I think from that day on, it just escalated because, as you know how it works, it was like we got on with each other so well. The laughter was always there, right? So there was always a glow and a carry on and like no really taking it life too serious, which was a beautiful thing. And it just started going for there. But what we didn't realise at the time, because I was 27, right? And I was in my absolute chaos. I had the nickname, the Beachwood Bandit, all this stuff, and thought it was funny, and you liked to drink and all the rest of it. But we weren't really bad people, right?
No.
We were good people. But we used to get really, really absolutely blittered, right? And that's all we started doing. But we'd go everywhere together. But we would use alcohol and drugs.
Aye.
So it was mostly alcohol, right? But then like, we would have some cocaine, or we would get some ecstasy, or we'd get some Mandy. And then it just, like I said, it just went for there. But it was never bad. It was always good. And I think we went on quite a lot of adventures, right? And I'm sure, I know we went to, it was your birthday, your 21st and stuff, and we went to Tenerife and all that. But one that stands out for me, I think it was into the following year. And it was brilliant because we were together all the time. I know I worked and stuff, but it was Amsterdam. We went to Amsterdam together for the first time.
That's right.
You want to talk us through that?
Well, much time ago. Actually, you'd phoned me and you were like, oh, so what are you doing next week? And I was like, I don't know.
Why do you keep doing it in that voice, by the way? You stop you there, right? And I never done it in a camp way either.
Yeah, right, okay,
What are you
right,
doing
sorry.
next week? What are you doing next week? Is that the way I done it? How do you know I done it that way? Because I was on the
Because I was there. I was there, seen it with my own eyes. You said it to me.
Right, okay, right. Carry on, please.
Sorry, you went, what are you doing next week? I don't.
Right, crack on, please.
So anyway, I was like, not much how. If I go to Amsterdam, and I was like, oh my God, this guy. I'm 20. My head's full of hot air, mind. So I took it.
Thanks for the confidence boost. And I'm 27, but I've got the mind of a 16-year-old.
Aye, exactly.
Right, anyway.
Anyway.
But I thought you were cool.
You're no bad.
Right, thanks. You're all right. You know what I mean?
Are you right? So anyway, so we goes to Amsterdam, and it was just hilarious. It was from start to finish. We were planning this is the thing, we always did plan to be like normal people, do touristy stuff and all that, but then we would just get pure bluttered on some sort of drink or drug, and when it happened.
We did their tour.
No, we went to do the Anne Frank tour and get full of mushrooms. And we'll go there, and as we got to the queue, this wee miniature motor just drove by, and the mushrooms have started coming on us. And we went into that giggle, but like a giggle I've never had. No, mind the laugh was dead strange and all. And I couldn't stop it, and you're going, stop doing that. And it was
just mad because we actually sat, you said, you're laughing into that guy's hood, and he turned around. And it was that infectious laugh, and the tears were streaming. I'd never laughed like that in my life.
No, never.
And I think we sat at the same wee bar for like 10 hours.
I
and
know,
we had the same one drink.
Pint.
And it was not like me.
No, not me either.
And we know you had a drink problem, but anyway, we'll talk about that shortly. And we just sat there, and it was like a moment in time, because I'll never forget it. And then we started wandering about trying to find our way back, and we always ended up back at the same place.
Aye, the red light district.
No, but it's not.
Aye, it was. Mind, we used to get lost there all the time.
Hold on a wee second.
No, I know.
That's where the cigarette shop was there, the tobaccoist. So that was the only place I had to go. So I had to walk by all the tits to get to the shop.
Aye, okay.
Right.
So anyway, Amsterdam was brilliant. What I would say is, see the first 2 years of our relationship, or thereabouts, maybe a wee bit longer than that, 2-3 years of our relationship, was amazing. I couldn't fault it. It was amazing. Because there was a lot of drinking drugs, but it wasn't a problem then. It hadn't became a major issue then. Looking back now, we always drank alcoholically. We never, as soon as we put one in, we were off and running. We couldn't just have one ever. As soon as we took one in, we'd lost all control after that, how many, for how long we're going to do it. Fact. So we always drank alcohol and used alcohol like an addict, more or less. But it wasn't an issue then. It wasn't fucking up life then. It was enjoyable then. And I couldn't fault it. I mean, we travelled all over the world. I remember one year we actually tried to remember and write down everywhere we'd been. And it was like 17 different places we'd been in the 1 year. And that was all we could remember. And it's so, I couldn't fault it.
No, I think it all happened the way it was meant to happen.
Aye.
Just to have new awareness, growth. Mm-hmm. And you're saying the first 3 years, so I think it was from 2013 up to 2016.
Aye.
And that's when the beautiful Alexis, our daughter, was born.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of changed a lot of things because,
it did.
And I'll just speak freely now before to let you say whatever you want to say about it, but I feel like, so I was 30, right? But I was still so wrapped up in addiction. I had a good job, but I hated it, and cocaine and self-absorbed, poor me, victim mentality. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't a nice person to be around when I was intoxicated. I became volatile, and I feel like you didn't deserve that, right? Because you deserve to be treated like a princess, and you come with beautiful vibes and all these things, you know what I mean? And I wasn't giving you what you needed. And then when Alexis was born, I didn't know how to be a dad. I didn't know. I would show in photos or look at my daughter, but I was still so wrapped up in addiction, I couldn't help myself. So how could I look after this wee baby, this beautiful wee daughter, beautiful wee lassie that has came into our world? And it really affected our relationship because I felt like I was working, and if I was working, I was coming home, and it was your job to look after her. And if I wasn't going to work, I was getting intoxicated with alcohol and cocaine, and it was still your job to look after her. That was my mentality at the time, which is terrible. And I want to apologise to you live in the studio for that one. I've got a lot more apologies to do along the way, but that's am I correct in saying that?
I actually really appreciated that, because I think that's the most honestly you've ever said that. It's true. So obviously I definitely was not perfect. I mean, I could have been so much better, but I think that's where it changed for me, because it got to when Alexis was born. And I think for mothers as well, just in general, it sort of comes more naturally, because I never had any young siblings. I never had any babies around me at all ever. and yet it just came naturally. I don't know why. It's like as soon as I seen that wee human being that I had made, it was like I was just in total awe and in love, and I know you were as well, but I'm saying I just naturally knew what to do and how to look after her. It was strange. It was like a sixth sense. I just knew. And it didn't come naturally to you. And I think because there was one thing, we're always sort of like old school gentlemanly that way. Like open the door and pay for the meal and all like that, and your dad's quite like that, no, like that kind of old school. So I always had it in my mind that you're going to be such a great dad, dead hands-on and dead going to just take it right away, and that's just what I thought was going to happen because we used to speak about it. And I think in reality, and lots of people do it, I can't wait to have a weigh-in and they'll look like me and dress them up and do this with them and that with them. And I don't think anybody's really truly ready for the life-changing responsibility that's about to smack you right in the dial, because I wasn't either. I just reacted to it differently than you did. It sort of came more naturally to me than it did you. But it was a total culture shock. My whole life just got turned upside down in the most beautiful way. But I had went from having no responsibilities to being Kellymarie, to being 23, to now being a mother. You're like, that's your title now. You're responsible for this wee human being. And you don't get a day off either, by the way. And there's no rule book and there's no like manual. It's like you're winging it. I was just a bit like, oh, what am I doing?
And see, to be honest with you, see if you never had that natural like bond,
Aye.
then I don't know what would have happened, because
No.
I just couldn't. And it's not that I obviously I loved her a bit. She was my daughter and that, but I was so troubled. But I couldn't talk about these things, and I would just use mere drinking drugs to block it out, and I would blame you, and then you would blame me, and then it became toxic, and we were living a life full of resentments and stuff like that. And do you know what I mean? And I wasn't giving you what you really deserved, truly, as a partner, as a mother, and I can openly speak about these things now. Because again, it wasn't just a trauma for me being like that, it was a trauma for everybody. And then so we actually went through those next 3 years, right? Still in that kind of way. We were going on holiday with the baby and Alexis was growing up.
It was never the same.
It was never the same, right? But there was still good times and there was bad times, of course. And then 2019, you're pregnant again.
Yeah.
This time I'm not a dad. I'm only kidding.
That
It's a
was
joke.
terrible.
What do you mean? You laughed, didn't you? Right, well, I can't deny him because he's my spitting image, right? Our son then arrives, James King Jr. And again, the relationship's broken down, but we're still trying to hold on to something. That family, we're a bond, we're a unit, we need to be together. But then we're not working on each other. We're not working on ourselves. So how are we supposed to be the best versions, right, for the Waynes, if we can't be the best versions for ourselves? So can you talk me through your emotions at that time? You've had James that just born.
So I had gave up. I had lost respect for you somewhere along the lines and gave up on us. But then I started to give up on me as well. So I put on so much weight and I didn't care. My dress sense, there was none. I didn't care. I didn't even have a style. I didn't care about fixing myself up, or I'd lost all joy and care, and I see that now, and it's actually really sad. But I just let everything go. I just didn't care anymore. James probably wasn't the best idea if you really look at it. I mean, the way things were, why would you bring another baby into the world? The difference was I always had it in my head that I would have a sibling for Alexis because I was an only child. And I just thought, I am going to have a sibling for Alexis. And that sort of came about, and obviously it's just a total blessing. So it was meant to be, it was meant to happen. But it just added, it almost was like, know that James was a nail in the coffin, but it was like it was heading to the end after James, because I think we already, as we were saying, were struggling, and then the relationship had broke down, and I'd let myself go, you'd let yourself go. Our drinking behaviours and all that was really getting bad at that point in time. Any spare time we go, it was drinking drugs. There was no enjoyment in it, and we couldn't go anywhere without that anywhere. And it just broke down after that, really.
That was more the breakdown.
That was.
I think when we James started to get into like 1, 2 year old, it was just totally broken then, because we were both broken as people. And the resentments start to come and or that toxic, the way relationships go.
Aye.
Toxicity and blame and stuff like that. And then it did break and I left and I went back to stay at my mum's, obviously, back in the scheme. And we couldn't really keep that bond, even though it was such an amazing friendship we had, as well as a relationship. But even that had broken down as well. Because
it was even there's so much resentment, you can't have a friendship with that amount of resentment. You actually can't. There would be, it's impossible.
So I think I kind of went on my healing journey just before you, right? But see all that stuff we just spoke about there.
Even then, though, I resented you for that. Because I thought, who the fuck are you to now go and want to better yourself and do all this stuff, and the only small time you do get, you're now out jogging and doing all this stuff, and now I get even less of your time and they get less of your time, and I resented that majorly because I thought, who are you to go and do that now when we're at this point in time? But I see that totally differently now.
How do you see it now?
I see it now that you were trying to better yourself, but I just was resentful because in my eyes you were already selfish.
And I was.
And that was another form. I was even more selfish.
But that was me at breaking point, whereas I wanted to basically not be here anymore. And I knew I had to change myself so that I could change for other people. Because I didn't care about anything anymore. So my only option was either give up on life or change. But not everybody's seen that.
No.
And obviously you were still hurting, you were still trying to get better. And so you're automatically going to have resentments for me changing my life. So when you were doing these things, do you have any highlights, what stands out the most, that when you knew, I can't go on like this, I need to change now?
So basically when we split up, that was the start of my rock bottom, which I knew was the most beautiful blessing. There was such value in that I just did not have the hindsight to see that was going to make me. But at the time, it was horrendous. So in my eyes, I would have, even though a relationship was toxic, it was finished. It should have been done long before it was done. And we were actually starting to build like pure hatred for each other, which was horrible in itself. I would have tried to keep us together because I never had that family unit, as in my man, dad in the one house and grown up with them together. So I would have done it and to keep that together. But looking back now, it just wasn't meant to be like that. It really wasn't meant to be like that. So it would be, as soon as the weans were away, I was off. I was on it. I was out. I was mad with it. It was first thought on my mind. I couldn't wait to do it. Even at night, I would say to myself, oh, you're only having a couple at night and blah, blah, blah. Still really selfish, because if I'm going into a drunken sleep at night, I've waited till the weans are in their bed and all that and whatever. If I'm in a drunken sleep at night, who's to say what could happen during the night? Do you know what I mean? It's fucking really, really selfish. But I started to notice I was doing it more and more often. I started to notice I was sort of doing it when I didn't actually want to. There was times I was actually driving to the shop. This is how powerful the mind is, by the way, right? I was driving to the shop one day and I'm like, don't look out there, that's off licence, Drive faster, you're going to end up in off licence. And it came to me, I'm like, you're fucking driving the motor. You're driving it. But my mind was that powerful, it's telling me that's what's happening. And sometimes I'd get into the shop and I'd be like, going to give me a whatever, and a litre of vodka and blah, blah. And it's like a mental blank spot. I'd leave the shop and go, I did not mean to buy that. Do you know what I mean? It was becoming powerless to it.
It was your way of blocking the pain out.
Aye,
of course,
100%.
but a lot of people don't realise that. We're using that to block out something, and then it's creating more pain.
100%.
When did it? So give me some highlights then that really, when it got really bad, that you thought I need to change here.
It was actually how I felt, first of all. It wasn't a big event yet. It was how I felt within myself. I knew I was doing it far too often. How it was making me feel after it. It was just horrendous, and I knew, and I'm like, this is horrendous. I don't want to feel like this ever again anymore. I knew somebody that was actually in GA, and I'd seen the change in them. And I'd seen it, like, majorly in front of my eyes. I'd seen the change, and I'm like, here, hold on. I looked online and joined a fellowship. And at that point, I hadn't embarked on the 12-step programme. I just knew that I had to get help. I knew that I didn't want to feel how I was feeling anymore. I went to the meeting and they were just amazing. They were the most beautiful people. I had this image in my head, like in the like American films and all that, they're all in a circle and they're all shaking, and I was imagining people like being sick, green stuff into a cup and all that. Like I had this pure warped view, and I get there and all these people are glowing. And they're just happy and they're all cuddling me, and the welcoming I got was unbelievable. And I thought, I got hope that night. I got hope that, do you know what? I actually might be all right. There might be a way out of this for me. I definitely got hope that night. I can't remember much else about it other than the people were amazing. They were offering me their numbers and phone numbers, and I get hope. I was like, do you know what? This might actually change here. So I kept doing that. I kept going, but at this point, I don't know. I think drink's my problem at this point. I don't realise I'm the problem. My thinking's the problem. My spiritual fucking illness is the problem. It's all my thoughts and feelings and how I feel within myself. That's what the real problem is. I don't know this yet. I think it's alcohol, and a lot of people do think it's the substance. It's no. It's me, and it's. I've came to realise that addiction is a disease that centres in the mind. It centres in the mind. So, I didn't know any of this yet. I thought it was just alcohol. So I kept going with that, kept going to the meetings. But I'm still drinking here and there and kind of everywhere. And then there was an event that stands out that I've actually not said, and whoever's watching this, like my granny and that, they were like, oh my God.
Now is the time to tell it.
Now is the time, because it's a good outcome, so I'll get away with it.
Tell us the story then, because I know it was a traumatic event in a way, because it kind of shook you to change in it.
This was one. There's a series of events and a series of light bulb moments, or traumatic events, or just moments in time, pivotal points in my recovery that made me either awaken or realise or wonder, or it's all part of my progress, all part of my journey, and I see that now, good and bad. So it was this night. In my mind, I believed the lie that I was just going to get a wee bottle of wine and nurse it the whole night, and it'd be all lovely, lovely. And within 20 minutes, it was done. It was just done. So I'm steaming now. Drank this bottle of wine, and I've jammed my motor. The worst thing is, my shop is a 3-minute walk, if that. No, I've took the motor, drove round, got a carry out, came back, drank that. No need more. I was like, right, go back round again. But as I've went round this time, there's a hotel next to the shop, just round for me, and it's all lit up, and it's like all the strobe lights and all that, and I can hear the music, and my eyes, and I'm steaming by this point. I've drove my motor right up to the front of the place and blocked the full bit for all the motors to come out, right to the smoking area. It was just, I can imagine the way it was parked. And I've stoated in there, and the last thing I remember was talking to people at the bar and having all shots of tequila lined up and just going bang, 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 and then coming to, running round my motor and chasing this guy to get my keys back, and this woman's screaming at me, and I can feel my head's all sore and my hair's all over the place, and I'm screaming, fuck you and all, you old, oh. Shouting abuse at her, and she's screaming abuse at me. This is flashbacks, but this is when I've came to. The last thing I remember is in there drinking the tequila. Now I've came to, running around my motor, screaming at this woman. What's happened in between, I've no idea. Still to this day, I've no memory whatsoever. But this guy's not giving me my keys back. And it's sort of kind of dawning on me. And they're like, the police is coming. I'm like, good, bring the police. And you know, I'm no like that.
A violent bastard.
No, I don't think so. I'm not. And it was just like, oh. So the police came anyway. And long story short, I woke up in London Road, and I thought, oh my God, did you know that? Talk about the fear. This was times 10. I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, right? And I'm trying to piece together the night, and it was like, right, so the keys, he wouldn't let me into my motor. I've been charged with something to that motor. I'm losing my licence. I cannot believe this. So all sorts run through my brain. And I go to get signed out, and he's given me the charge sheet, and I'm expecting it just to be something to do with driving, and I had 5 charges. He's like, see these 5 charges? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? What are they? Blah, blah, blah. And it was assault, It was breach of the peace, drunk while in charge of a vehicle. So it wasn't actually drink driving. All that. Anyway, it was 5 charges, and my whole world just. That was one of the biggest shockers where I thought, oh my God, like I really can't.
You kept that one quiet?
I did. I was totally ashamed though. I had to go to court for that.
You're up at
Took
court?
a long time, aye.
You're in the dock?
Yes.
I could just imagine you sitting in the dock.
I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified.
Did you have a wee hat and stuff on?
No. Anyway.
What was the outcome?
The outcome was the different witnesses come up and anyway, so the outcome was that the judge had said, he said, in light that you've no previous convictions, that there was a lot of alcohol involved in your chosen career, that you're wanting to be a drama teacher and you've studied all this time and it seems very out of character for you. He says, we're going to admonish the charges, and that was the outcome on 6 months good behaviour. So, but see the week and a half leading up to that, all I could think about was drinking. It was all consuming. I thought, oh my God, I can't handle this, And something in me, which I now know is my higher power, it's God, it's the universe, whatever you want to call it, it's that wee voice, that wee internal power that keeps me right. When your head tells you, oh, just go and get a bottle of vodka, and you get that wee internal knowing, it goes, nah, don't do it. You're going to fuck everything up. You're going to be back to square one, and nobody, whether you believe in God, whether you're an atheist, whatever, can deny that you've got that wee voice of reason inside that tries to keep you right. We just don't always listen to it. So that wee voice of reason was saying, oh my God, don't. See, if you drink on the lead up to this, you're putting out absolute shit to the world. You're likely to get it back. See, if you just do your best and don't drink and put out nothing but goodness, kindness, help people, just try and be the best version of you that you can be, then there might be a chance. And I don't know where that came from, and I still don't. And I don't question it the day anymore either. And I goes in, and that was the outcome. Admonished. With
good behaviour?
With good behaviour.
Did you have the good behaviour?
I had the good behaviour, which meant that it doesn't ever even show up on my file. That's a blessing, no. That's a blessing, that's a God job to me.
Then you started getting right into the recovery side of things, right? You started getting in touch with your higher power, the power of prayer, going through the steps. So briefly talk me through that, when you really get into the recovery and you turned your back on alcohol and drugs forever.
So I started, when I first went in, I thought I could do it my way. Now, it's simple suggestions that they give you. It doesn't mean they're easy, but they're simple, and there's no many of them. It's just get these suggestions, get a sponsor, get to plenty of meetings. Simple suggestions. Keep coming back was one of the suggestions, right? It's probably the only one I took on. I just kept coming back. Something in me thought I knew better. They might need to do all that and do all these suggestions and all that, but do you know who I am? I am fine. I'm not as bad as all of them. Straight away your brain tries to separate you. I mean, they end up lying under a bridge. I've got a house. So it's anything that your mind can do to separate you for getting the help that you need to get, basically, is what I've came to realise. So I tried to do it my own, and I tried. And do you know what happened? I suffered longer than I needed to, than if I would have just done it properly. So the big turnaround was I had booked, it was a convention to do with the fellowship in Portugal. But we had booked it we'd booked it about 8 months before. And I was just thinking it was going to be like a holiday. Like, I just wasn't thinking. And the last time I ever drank or used drugs was the very last time, was 5 days before that holiday to Portugal to the convention, recovery convention. So you can imagine the frame of mind I'm in, and I'm just like, oh, well, at least I'm going to be holiday, no, that'll be fine. It's just what I need in that. And I was there, and I was not prepared for what happened. It was an absolute God job. Why I booked that, I still don't know to this day. And suddenly there's 500 people for all the world for recovery. even when you go down for your breakfast, there's somebody talking to you about recovery. Which is recovery. I mean, I get bulldozed right out of the napperware, and it was just what I needed. And I thought I was just going out for a jolly up on a holiday. It was meditation. It was like cold water or swimming in the sea for the sun rising, 6:30 in the morning. And then you're all doing the serenity prayer in a circle, and then you're sitting on the beach doing meditation. I always liked the idea of meditation, but I couldn't really get my head around it. Here's me sitting on this beach. At this point, I've nothing to lose. I've really nothing to lose and everything to gain. And I really believe something happened to me that's given me goosebumps talking about it. It's like a surrender, some sort of surrender, internal. You can't do this yourself. You've tried. Just get up. Just let go. Let go and let God. That's it. And something happened, and I was sitting doing the meditation, and I could just feel it like I've never felt before. And he says, picture something you're grateful for. And it was the waves flew into my mind, and the tears just were like a tap. I mean, running. I have felt that once since, actually, at the Soul Centre. Shout out to Stephanie, because it was a chant class. It was
Do you
amazing.
not get that when I walk in the room, no?
No, so I started getting just tears pouring. This release of emotion that I've just never, ever, ever experienced. And I knew something was happening to me. If you'd asked me, I wouldn't have been able to say what, but something was happening. A real change was happening. Spiritual awakening was happening. And I knew it, and I could feel it. Basically, that retreat, recovery convention changed my life. I didn't even know it, but it changed my life. And at the end, there was a big closing ceremony, and they did the clean time countdown. So people got them collective for multiple years sober, a year sober, 9 months. So you get pure joy, because when people are going up to collect, everybody's cheering, and they're like, oh, wow. And can you imagine 500 people in an auditorium with pure, sheer joy, genuinely for the next person, because they know what that's like, and celebrating them for being sober. And the room was pure electric, and one of the guys that runs it, he started singing Robbie Williams' Angels. So then you've got 500 people all joining in with this song, I'm Loving Angels Instead. The hairs in the back of my neck were standing up. And something, again, that wee voice of reason was just like, you know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. Just go home and get 110%. You can see it in everybody around you that it works. There's people that are really glowing. They hear their life for how it used to be, and the horror stories there, and you see them in front of your eyes. It's something that they can't fake. You feel the energy, you see them glowing. I know it works, so just go back and get 110%. Every suggestion, take it on. Your way clearly doesn't work, and it was the first time I had accepted that. And something in me went, you're going to come back here next year and collect your year chip. You're going to do that. And I knew. It was the first thing I was really sure about. I just knew. And that's exactly what I'd done.
So you've never looked back since?
Nah,
and
never.
You can feel it after you, as you said, that the energy doesn't lie.
It doesn't lie.
And you can't fake these things.
No.
And there's nothing like natural highs and pushing towards your dreams and your goals, right? So you're on the spiritual path, the Great Awakening, right? Peace in your life, peace in your mind. You've always been very talented singer, actress, performer, comedian. I could go on and on and on, right? That's what the attraction was, right? So, but you always had it in your mind, and I remember you always used to speak about these things, right? And now you've manifested it into reality, and you are on the theatre. You're writing your own music. You're not just writing it; you're performing it live in front of an audience. All these things, and you're the main performer in a show. It's mad. It's mad when you talk about it, because I remember you speaking about it all the time when we were together.
Aye.
And to see it actually come to fruition, there's nothing more magical. So can you talk me through that? How did that come about, and what you feel like now?
What I've realised is you attract what you are. So if you become love, you attract love. If you become kindness, you attract kindness. See, the more good I put into the world, and I genuinely can say I live my life to the best of my ability and nothing but kindness, love and tolerance. I help others. I'm constantly just trying to do the next right thing, right? See, when I live my life like that, the blessings just come. They just come. I can't explain. I don't need to know how or why. I realise that now. I don't need to question it. I just know if I'm living in the good and I'm doing the right things happen to me. And it's fact, because it's happened. And it was like, I always loved singing, as you know. That sort of went out the window when I was when I found drinking drugs, because I found that I didn't have the confidence anymore to do all that. I always wanted to sing. I always wanted to sing in front of people. I'd got to the point where I could only do that drunk or with a drink in me when I sounded fucking horrendous anyway. So I wanted to get that back. I also always used to write like poems, and I always loved the idea of writing songs, acting, drama, all that stuff. Ended up going to college to do drama and getting my diploma in that, and just done a whole turnaround. So with the singing, which is most recently, so I'm at a meeting. This is the thing. These wee synchronicities seem to happen, right? The way things pan out is crazy. I'm sitting in a meeting, and somebody was sharing, and when somebody for the hall had shared back, they had said, excuse me, they started talking about drama. And I wouldn't have mentioned it, that I just probably wouldn't have mentioned it. I would have kept it about recovery. But for some reason, because they mentioned it, and the next 3 people that mentioned was all about talking about drama, when it came to me, I went, by the way, I'm actually doing drama at college, and I'm due to finish up soon, and blah, 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 and it's been great for my recovery and all that stuff. And Pauline, her name is, for the back, she came out at the end of the meeting. She was like, oh my God, I go to this drama group. It's all for people in recovery. Oh, you would fit right in. It's absolutely amazing. And it was in cahoots. They're a recovery-based drama team. It's for people in recovery, but people also just struggling to maybe get connected or mental health or whatever. And honestly, it was one of the biggest things I've done in my recovery, because I had the balance of trying to figure out what I'm up against, what I suffer with, the disease of addiction. So finding out about that, and then in recovery, but also having something that makes me me, that I get to put my energy into something healthy. And for me, it's drama and performing and singing, and I'm such a people person. So I joined in cahoots, and honestly, I cannot sing their praises enough. The blessings that came for that, like being in 2 theatre shows, and I'm thinking, people have actually paid money to come and see this. All the rehearsals, all the behind the scenes, was on STV News. Such a on STV News.
Jim King was in the crowd and all, watching you.
I know. I on STV News, and then this year I got to go to BBC Studios and was on the radio. Like, it's unbelievable. The opportunity's just been amazing.
But it's more believable because you've always had that star quality. It's just about when you're putting the right things into your body and your mind, that's when it all just comes to you, because you have this bright shining light.
Yeah.
And that's why it happens.
100%.
But it'll never happen when you're intoxicated, because the self-doubt's there, fear's there, all the low vibrations. But when you start tapping into your higher power, those high frequencies, that's when it all just comes to you. And as you said, your vibe attracts your tribe. So it just comes to you like a fucking magnet. And you have got a magnetic personality. Not quite at my level yet, but you're nearly there. But no, it's beautiful, and you're only going to grow and grow and grow. And I know you've got dreams to be in, like, on the soap operas and all that, but I just see more for you. I really do.
It's always been a dream to be on River City. It's just been a dream. It's funny, I know, because you know how you've got the contrast where my granny, she's old school, and she'll humble you fast, and she's like, your head's full of wee broken bottles, I can't bother you. Whereas my dad's like, River City, I'm thinking Hollywood. I'm like, right, calm down.
No, in between.
No, in between.
I was thinking more bad girls.
Oh, aye. You go for that, aye.
But it's beautiful to see, right? And I can only see big things for you. It's amazing, and you deserve the world. But I want to talk about something else now, right? So what's even more amazing, for me anyway, right, is that when people that are in relationships or they've got families and they break down and stuff like that, it becomes toxic, right? They don't speak and resentful against each other and stuff like that. That was kind of where it was at the start of your breakup. But see now, it's such a beautiful thing because we've got this friendship. We're there for each other. There's still love there, but we know we'll never be together. It's not a sexual thing. It's more a spiritual connection. And I think it's amazing because it's a great example of how people should be when it comes to families and relationships and stuff like that. and you don't get that a lot, and that just shows the power in awareness, the power in growth. And it's not just for your mental health and mine, it's for the kids I know, and it's amazing.
Oh, 100%. That's how, as I've healed, or healing, should I say, because it's just,
Never
we're
ending.
growing every single day. And you're doing the same. We're able to not just coexist. I mean, we do have a great relationship now. I can defo tolerate you now.
You couldn't tolerate me earlier on.
No,
there was almost World War III in the car. I'm saying, I'm going to kick her out of here. Who does she think she is? This is the Jim King show. You know, just appearing here and taking over like Kellymarie. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just another guest, Kelly.
Oh, whatever. Anyway.
No, I kid not.
No, we have banter. So we have a sort of weird bickery thing going on.
It's always, you're kind of always start it, don't you? Because you know how to get me going.
Right, do you really want to get into this?
No, but carry on, please.
Right. But we definitely are night and day now, the way we are. We get on a hell of a lot better now as pals, which is amazing, because then the Waynes get the best version of us. They really do. And as much as we bicker, we don't do it in front of them. And we always have a resolution. That is what is amazing. You're not going to have that amount of years together, and that amount of to be fair though, we've made amends to each other, so that there's no much resentment there. There is no it's more we're going to react to each other because we've got a lot of history, so we're going to rub each other up the wrong way. And I think out of everybody in our life, we probably are the only two people that do that to each other. We rub each other up the wrong way. Thankfully, we always have a resolution to it. We always do. And we always like on the way up here. I'm like, I just don't want to do it now. I'm just not doing it. I'm not getting in here with this. And we actually had a really honest conversation.
But I think, because it wasn't really an argument, it was just emotions running high on both parts.
Aye.
And it got a wee bit, no heated, but the emotions were getting, like, the voices were maybe getting a wee bit raised. But then when we came out the car and we were outside the studio, it was like peace and light, because we thought, do you know what? We're glad that happened there.
You're able to resolve it.
Because it needed to happen that way, because you need to get the emotions out there. And sometimes when you go to express yourself, even when you're in a spiritual path, it doesn't come out right.
No.
Because we're all emotional. But we've just got this energy, do you know what I mean? But it ended on a great note, and we felt peace when we came into the studio, and it brings us to this very moment. And I want to ask you, right? Before we finish up on this episode,
yes,
if there's a message, a beautiful message that you can send out to the audience watching, now is the time.
My message would be, if there's anybody out there who's struggling, who thinks there's no way out, who is maybe drinking or using a wee bit more than they want to, who thinks they have a problem or just isn't sure and just really what needs help is there. You've got every fellowship. You've got CA, you've got A, you've got NA, you've got... there's loads of organisations, there's loads. If you just type it in Google, I'm sure you'll find some. It is by far the best thing I have ever done in my life. I went for somebody who, growing up, was life and soul, and I didn't have a care in the world, to becoming absolutely dead inside. Like, spiritually dead. I can honestly say I had joy in nothing. Not one thing in life brought me joy. To now I have the life beyond my wildest dreams, and I really mean that. How I react to the world, how I engage with other people, my relationships that are around me are absolutely beautiful. I'm achieving things that I always wanted to achieve. I'm living dreams that I can't believe I'm actually living. I have, and above all else, which I started with and I'll finish with, I have peace and contentment. And there's been really big traumatic things that have happened to me in my life in recovery. Really big and really traumatic, and that would have sent me in a total spiral before, that I knew I'm just able to deal with, because I just know it's going to be all right. There's no amount of worrying, there's no amount of thinking that's going to change the outcome. I've realised that. The only thing I can control is my actions and my reactions. That's it. So I can't control people, I can't control places, and I can't control things. In a nutshell, I can't control about 99% of what goes on about me. I can only control my actions and my reactions. How simple does that make it? And then it's just faith. faith, total faith that everything's going to be all right. See, as long as I'm living in the good and I'm doing the right things will happen. And that's been my experience. That's factually what has happened. And if there's them do it there who's struggling, please don't wait another second. Please don't. Reach out to me, reach out to Jim, reach out to whoever. Go on Google, have a look, because it's the kindest thing you'll do for yourself. So I hope the listeners get hope that it's possible, it can be done. And I wish them all well.
Such an amazing and beautiful message, Kellymarie, for a beautiful person.
Thank you.
And it's great to see you sitting here and just speaking those words of wisdom. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been a beautiful episode and you're an inspiration, so thanks again.
Thank you.